EA is dying, and I couldn't be happier. Hello everyone, this is Mr. Obvious, bringing you the obvious. And today on Market Watch, Electronic Arts stock heads toward the largest drop in more than a decade after earnings miss. So today I have wonderful news. So Battlefield 5 sold 1 million fewer copies in its debut quarter than EA expected. And I'm sure they have no idea why. It couldn't possibly be that EA went woke, and now it's going broke, like so many other companies infected by the progressive agenda, pushing all of this garbage on the consumer and ruining gaming and other industries. The same thing is happening in comic books. So let's take a look at this story, and then we can get a little bit of background and how all of this happened and all of the cringy stuff that EA has done. Electronic Arts Incorporated stock plunged toward its worst decline in more than a decade Wednesday after the video game maker missed holiday season sales estimates and lowered its forecast. EA's stock fell as low as $78 in the morning trading Wednesday, a decline of about 16%, and was recently trading about 14% lower. EA shares declined 17.8% on October 31st, 2008, and 16.9% on March 22nd, 2005. The only times they have declined by 14% or more in this millennium, according to FactSet. So basically, EA stock is down the gutter, and this is the worst it's been in an entire decade. According to EA's chief executive, Andrew Wilson, the company faced significant challenges in the fiscal third quarter that would continue throughout the fourth quarter. And I couldn't be happier. Everybody knows EA is a horrible company that not only leads to the death of many beloved gaming companies, but also ruins many franchises. And lately, EA has chosen to go woke. And this is most apparent with Battlefield 5. Just to give you an example of why people were so upset with Battlefield 5, let's take a look at a clip from the official trailer.
Hello, old friend.
Literally has a crippled woman with a prosthetic arm wielding some sort of board bat. How's that for historical realism? How's that for rewriting history? But honestly, it gets even worse than that. A lot worse.
The worst offender by far in the campaign is the mission about a Norwegian mother and daughter who destroy Germany's ability to produce heavy water, an essential component in the German efforts to develop an atomic bomb. In any event, the mother throws her daughter off the bridge. The daughter then battles her way through more German troops, falls off a cliff into freezing water. Somehow she makes it to a cabin in the woods where a German soldier is waiting. She physically overpowers him, strangles him, and then passes out from exhaustion. The daughter succeeds in destroying most of the shipments, and then her mother sacrifices herself in order to sink a German submarine carrying the very last shipment of heavy water. The problem with this scenario is that it's a blatant lie. It's obviously based on the Allies' plan to cripple the Norwegian Veermork plant in 1943, but DICE's version of events completely writes the real-life Norwegian commandos out of their own story.
So they completely rewrite history. There was literally a group of brave men, and they replaced them with 2 women and 1 girl who was so amazing that she survived being thrown in freezing water in the snow and survived hypothermia and frostbite. Overpowered men destroy an entire facility, and her oh-so-strong independent woman mom blew up an entire submarine. As you can plainly see, the people over at EA went absolutely insane with Battlefield 5, and a lot of people were upset. The trailer alone has 500,000 dislikes. People were upset from the get-go. Let's take a look at some of the comments. Magic22 says, they've probably deleted more comments than copies they will sell. Oh boy, I can't wait to see Mexican lesbians in wheelchairs fighting in Vietnam. In the BF6 trailer, thank God for the brave women who stormed the beaches of Normandy. What a joke. Genderfield 5 is looking very historically accurate. Scrambled Greg says something rather telling. This game was developed in Sweden, which is pretty much the world's most whipped country when it comes to political correctness. It's no wonder this happened. Nasim23 says, agreed, completely disrespectful to the men who fought and died in WW2. And I think CWS Will says it best. This is possibly the worst adaptation of WW2 I have ever seen. What happened to all the men that gave their lives on the beaches of Normandy? What happened to when the soldiers stormed the streets of Berlin? A female amputee would never be put on the front lines of this war, let alone see one at all. Didn't know I was watching a gender studies lecture. So as you can plainly see, people were not buying this garbage to begin with. No one wanted the progressive agenda to be pushed in video games and to ruin them. They wanted a historically accurate war game. Instead, they got a political narrative. But what do the geniuses in the journalism industry think the reason was for Battlefield 5 doing so badly? One of the most prominent issues was the company's largest release ahead of the holiday season, Battlefield 5, which EA delayed until November. Video game critics had mixed reactions to the title, unlike its predecessor, which was critically acclaimed. EA said that Battlefield 5 sold 1 million fewer copies than executives had expected at 2.3 million units. Battlefield 5 launched without a so-called Battle Royale option, a mode that was contributed to the outsized success of Fortnite. Wilson said that because EA launched the game closer to the holidays, it has often discounted the price to compete with other titles. So as you can plainly see, the people at EA are not only out of touch, but completely wrong. The reason... The problem essentially is they didn't sell enough games. Not enough people bought it, and it probably didn't help that EA told people if they didn't like women in the game, not to buy it. So guess what? They didn't. Here you can see the headline, EA, don't like the women in Battlefield 5? Don't buy it. EA's Chief Design Officer, Patrick Soderlund, says Battlefield 5 is the game DICE wanted to make, full stop. Have you heard Battlefield 5 has womenfolk in it? Now instead of talking about the gameplay, we need to have conversations about troop compositions and historical accuracy in games. Yeah, we absolutely do, because it's a game about WW2. So exactly how is it wrong to talk about historical accuracy or the fact that you changed everything? Historical revisionism, rewriting history, disrespecting the brave men who fought and died on the beaches of Normandy. Unless you're Electronic Arts Chief Design Officer Patrick Soderlund, who is far more direct. In short, Battlefield 5 is the game DICE wanted to make. If you don't like the creative decisions that went into the game, you don't have to buy it. And guess what? People didn't buy the game. They didn't buy it, and now EA stock has taken a plunge. They're dying. And I, for one, could not be happier. You see, there's a lot of people out there who seem to have the mistaken idea that politics and the progressive agenda have nothing to do with their daily lives. In fact, it has everything to do with your life. And I don't just mean taxes and policies. Universities are currently an indoctrination center. We've seen many examples of this, like Evergreen State College. Now, for those of you who remember, apparently at the school there was an event, Day of Absence, but only for white people. A professor was called racist for questioning this and basically asking, how is this okay? But what happened at Evergreen State College is what's happening in universities and colleges everywhere. The Marxist and progressive agenda have invaded and spread like a cancer. Far-left ideology has been pushed and pushed on the public for a very long time. So what happens when all of these brainwashed students leave these schools and go out into, let's say, the video game industry? Well, that's when you get something like this. They try to push their agenda by messing with a product and by making something that nobody wants. That's exactly what happened with Battlefield 5. In short, it was propaganda and horribly misplaced. And Patrick Soderlund was extremely cringy about this. You know what he actually said? I have a 13-year-old daughter that when the trailer came out and she saw all the flack, she asked me, Dad, why is this happening? He continued, she plays Fortnite and says I can be a girl in Fortnite. Why are people so upset about this? I just said, you know what? You're right. That is not okay. Soy boy. These are people who are uneducated. They don't understand that it is a plausible scenario. Oh, Lord. Jesus Christ, that actually made me laugh out loud. But you know, this wasn't the only thing that the cringy folks at EA actually did. They actually threw a party celebrating everybody's Battlefield. Apparently that was their hashtag, showing all of the feedback, all of the comments, everything that the gamers said about said about Battlefield 5, and they had a celebration of how woke they were, virtue signaling to themselves mostly. Here you can see a screenshot from one of their parties. Michael at Legacy Killa HD says, so apparently this photo was taken from Battlefield 5 launch party in Stockholm. EA DICE's boss used these comments to talk about equality, and all I will say is, things are going to get interesting, especially since I already know how many people will react to this. So they gloated in their smug elite towers, thinking that they were going to sell this game and push their bullshit, but sadly for them, people are getting smarter and wiser to all this brainwashing garbage, to all this propaganda. Here you can see one of the comments they put up was, feminism ruins everything. Feminazis are trying to rewrite history, which is exactly the case. Oh my god, they tried switching not my battlefield to everyone's battlefield. This is going to get really, really bad. And just like poetry, it has gotten really, really bad. EA stock has taken the plunge, and I hope it goes down, down, down. The progressive agenda is a cancer that has infected the gaming industry, a cancer that has infected the comic book industry, a cancer that has infected Hollywood. It is a cancer that continues to spread and continues to try to push its propaganda. It will ruin your favorite video games and stuff that you enjoy. So when this happens, don't support it. Vote with your wallet. Don't buy their garbage. But that's merely the obvious. Well, that's all for now, folks. Are you guys as happy as me about EA dying? I, for one, have no pity. This has been Mr. Obvious, and I'll see you all next time.